Welcome to the Escape Hatch, my art and drawing channel where all creative things come together. Today we're going to be focusing on day one anatomy, where you can use basic shapes to put in your sketchbook that you can use over and over again to create human forms from imagination. So what you're looking at here is your basic 8-head figure setup. In most drawing books, you'll see that they say 7.5 to 8 heads is your typical heroic figure. Now, there's exceptions to every rule, right? There's extremely tall people, short people, and everything in between. We're using a basic drawing skeleton. You'll see the oval or bean shape for the rib cage and then the pelvis. But I've used a few different variations of this. My video shorts and things. Like we've done the Loomis skeleton a couple times. But I like this setup because by using the circles, you can kind of wrap the contours. And I like this line that goes to the interior of the knee because it shows the offset of the weight. And I've done the same thing here. I mean, eventually this will become a cylinder, but at least it reminds me that it's not a straight line going down to the foot. And then of course, in every book, you go from something like this to something finished like this, and you're like, well, how did that happen? So let's look at a few things. We have the hard rib cage and the hard pelvis, but then you got like the soft tissue that connects here. And then, you got this line going straight across, but, trapezoid muscles on a female, at least most females, it kind of arcs up, right? They're not overly developed. You can kind of see the trapezoid like over here. But this is the shapes that I want you to put in your sketchbook and memorize. Is this hourglass shape. Let's see if we can see that better. Let's turn it up in opacity. Okay, there's hourglass 1 and hourglass 2. Very simple shape to draw female figures. And we have the egg, like the oval that kind of like comes to a point, the upside down egg. So let's turn some of these other things off for a second. Let's turn the character and even the skeleton just for a second, just so we can focus over here. This is a straight on perspective, meaning it's flat. It's almost like a cutout on a wall, right? It's not tilted at all. But if you put this shape, the upside down egg, in the hourglass, in the spine in your sketchbook, it'll help you create realistic figures, because two things are going on. Is that you're understanding that the difference between a male and a female figure is that the waistline is a little bit higher, and the hips are a little bit wider. But even on a male figure, this is not a straight line down. The spine contours like so. So 1, 2, 3, go into the sketchbook. Just a suggestion. That's what I'm going to do, because we're going to build up our drawing alphabet. And then if we bring up the opacity of our beans, okay, is that let's go and bring this one up to just so that we can kind of see how that intersects there, because what we want to do is this. These three shapes in our sketchbook as well, which is the oval or the bean for the rib cage, and we're going to draw an arc up and a separation. Well, we are at 100, a full straight on view, so it would look more like this. It would be a straight line, but still. And let's turn these off for a second. And that one. So this is a straight on, kind of like an underpants shape. We'll finish up this tutorial in a screen capture mode, just for clarity. It's a little easier to see. But if we're looking at the female rib cage with the intersection here, you can see the cursor. Maybe I'll just draw an arrow. There's your intersection there. The intersection on a full-on side view would follow this contour here, like so. And we draw that triangle. Let's put our ideas into practice and see if they work. So let's start with the easy one, which would be the upside down egg for the female head. We'll draw in the top of the skull first. That's a layup. Now, when we put in this hourglass, we are going on a diagonal because this character is not quite facing front, but you can see, where the hips start, and the hips kind of end and the pelvis begins, and we can draw in our underpants shape. Or if we want to get fancy, we can draw it in contour form, which would be something like that. Works out really well. And then finally we got the spine, which we'll draw in a different color just because, so we can see it. The spine is curving that way because we're seeing it from the front. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I certainly, enjoyed it and learned a lot making it. This is day one, which means there's a long path to go, but I think the goal is to see how good all of us can become, and why not? And I hope to see you next time.